Hello, I'm Hans Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girlz is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Den Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now a captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
It's great to be here. I know that you're probably the biggest supporters of the Reggae Girlz. So what you do and the message that you spread for the girls, it's really appreciated.
Crystal, I gotta give it to her. I've heard a lot of guys say she's the reason why they start on to watch female football. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm pushing her out there to keep on doing your thing. Don't get discouraged. You have a band of brothers behind you. And what we try to do is to get female who think like you know, in the game. Right, Siobhan?
Yeah,
so respect to you, Crystal, and keep fighting.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, a lot of persons, because I think the Reggae Girlz has been the most successful team in our football, and I think a lot of that was underrated. So what you've done for the local aspect of Jamaicans, you brought that sense of admiration to the persons know that, hey, it's not just the boys, the females as well. The females have the love as well, and honestly, if it wasn't for someone like you, Crystal, the YouTube space would just be crowded with the reggae boys.
Hello, I'm Hans Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the town upon. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best Davis. Take it away.
Leading journalist, from what I could see, in relation to Demarai Gray's being Ben Jacobs. Read this one here from Ben Jacobs from Twitter or X, whichever one you guys refer to it as. It does say here, Demarai Gray's move to Birmingham City is now completed. Medical passed ahead of a free transfer back to his boyhood club. Ettifaq waiting for Saudi Pro League approval. Normal step to formalize paperwork ahead of an announcement. So as I said, that announcement there for Demarai Gray, it should probably come to us on Wednesday. So probably Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning, we should hear some form of an announcement there from Birmingham City. So let's dive into this one a little bit, taken from Sportsmax. Little report here from Sportsmax. Gave it a read earlier on. Like the read, so I thought, why not have a read with you guys? Headline here says, Reggae Boys attacker Demarai Gray set to return to English football with Birmingham City FC. Short report, so I will go ahead and read the full length of the article there for you guys. Reggae Boy Demarai Gray looks set for a return to English football with English Football League Championship outfit Birmingham City after agreeing terms of a free transfer from Saudi Pro League side Al Ettifaq, with the Saudi Pro League side retaining a sell-on clause of 20%. Gray completed the 2 parts of his medical on Sunday and Monday. The 28-year-old, my apologies, is now set for an emotional return to St. Andrews, having come through the club's academy. He joined Birmingham's academy in 2006. Before he made his senior debut for the club in 2013 at the age of 17. Gray made 78 appearances for the Blues and scored 8 goals before he was snapped up by Leicester City in January 2016 for an estimated $3.7 million. Just 4 months after signing, Gray became part of the legendary Fox side that overcame 5,000-1 odds to win their maiden Premier League title, led by Captain Wes Morgan. Let's not forget Mr. Wes Morgan, former Reggae Boy legend and also Leicester City legend. After a 5-year spell with Leicester City, Gray joined German Bundesliga club Bayer Leverkusen in January 2021 before returning to England with Everton that same year. He then joined Al Ittefaq in 2023. Gray has scored 7 goals in 27 appearances for the Reggae Boys. So before I move on to the update there as it relates to Kayla Hinds, something that really I wanted to discuss with you guys whether this is a good move. Off the top of my head, without knowing the player, I think it is a move that could potentially cure his recent dip in performance as it relates to the national side. And I'm not saying that there was a mental shift as it relates to Demarai Gray, but I'm just thinking outside the box and taking into consideration some of that transparency there that Demarai Gray has presented to us. One of the interviews there that I discussed with you guys, maybe some year and counting, if that, maybe I'm jumping the gun, several months back. Several months back, we look at a interview there that was done by The Athletic, led by Mr. David Ornstein. I'm pretty sure we know David Ornstein, trusted journalist where football is concerned. And we looked at a very emotional interview there from Demarai Gray. So let's go ahead and remind ourselves of that interview and give that a quick little read. I'm only going to touch on the relevant stuff there where Demarai Gray is concerned and why I think this move back to, okay, so it's not really showing me what I need it to show me. So let's get that off the screen because I'm not going to go through that whole process again. So you can't really see what I was hoping to show to you guys. So let me just go ahead and see if I can read it for you guys. I'm going to pick out the most important bit from that article. It's an article that you guys can read in your own time. You can look at the New York Times or The Athletic. The headline for that particular article said, Demarai Gray, I'd suffer breakdowns. I messaged my uncle and said, what's my purpose? Now, a couple of the important takeaways there from the article, a quote coming directly from Gray himself. He said, I remember a time when I messaged my uncle and said, what's my purpose? Gray tells The Athletic, citing the deep introspection he went through after moving from Bayer Leverkusen in 2021. So stick a pin in it again. Obviously, I can't speak for the player, and I'm not trying to say that his recent dip in form is in relation to any shift where his mental well-being is concerned. But it's something that probably has weighed on his mind previously, if we're working with the article in front of me. Again, talking about, some of those struggles there that he went through when he moved to Bayer Leverkusen. So it could be a reoccurrence of the same issue. And we all know how it goes. If you've been in a privileged position where you can move from one country to another, it does take some adjustment period. Unfortunately, people do go through homesickness, and footballers are no different. They're human beings just like you and I. So they're not exempt from the usual homesickness. And this is why I think that this move back to Birmingham City, is a Brummy boy, back to his former club, I think it might pay dividends where the Reggae Boys are concerned. He's back in familiar surroundings. He's got his family right on his doorsteps. And as I said, being away from his family could potentially have taken a toll on his mental well-being. I'm not saying that it did. I'm just saying, based on what's been said from the horse's mouth in that particular interview there, where again, the headline said, I suffered breakdowns and I messaged my uncle and said, what's my purpose? It might be a reoccurrence of the same thing. Hopefully not, but it might be. And if it is a shift where his mental well-being is concerned, then it kind of makes sense why we've seen that dip in his recent performances where the Reggae Boys are concerned. So hopefully this one will put him back on the right track and he's able to bounce back and return to what we know he's capable of. I believe he does have a family of his own. I think he appears to have a little one. So my assumption, nothing factual, is that if he does have a little one, that his child didn't live with him in Saudi, probably stayed in Birmingham with family or wherever his mommy or his loved ones resign. So moving back to Birmingham, I think there's some clear pluses there as it relates to family, you know, being back at home where it all started, familiar surroundings. And you in life, as I always say, you have to go where you're wanted and not where you're tolerated. And I just think that this is a brilliant move for him, and I do want to wish him all the best of luck. Hopefully it's a move there that does pay dividends. No, as it relates to the second part of the transfer talk there, let's go ahead and look at what's been said as it relates to Taylor Hinds. Now, you guys must have seen this one. If you're a Liverpool fan, do go ahead and cock your ears. I know you guys were big and bossy when you had Taylor Hinds, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but she's no longer your player. She is expected to make a move back to her former club. We're going to talk about that in a short while. But before we do so, let's go ahead and look at this thank you message there from the player herself. It does say, "Thank you for everything, Liverpool." And if I click on that, it does say here, "Dear Reds, I'm sorry I haven't had the chance to say a proper goodbye. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making me feel so welcome when I joined back in 2020. We've shared some incredible some incredible highs that I'll never forget, being promoted back into the WSL and then having the chance of taking part in the 2022 parade, which was one of the best days of my life. I'll always be grateful for the love and support I received from you all. I could always hear you." And it does complete by saying there, "To the managers and staff I worked with, thank you for constantly pushing me to be my best, for helping me grow both on and off the pitch. Being given the opportunity to lead the team out on several occasions was an absolute honor and a moment of real pride. To my teammates over the years, some of you have become friends for life. I truly wish each and every one of you best in your futures. We have made some special memories on and off the pitch that will always stay with me." And to conclude, it says, "I wish nothing but continued success for this team and this club. I'm incredibly proud to have been part of this club and to have worn the shirt. It's truly been a privilege. Thank you for everything. All the best, Tay." So let's go ahead and look at what's been said elsewhere, similar to the Demarai Gray latest reports there. Picked out an article for you guys, and this one is taken from the Guardian. So let's go ahead and see what the Guardian is saying. Just bear with me. Guardian does say here, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Headline: Taylor Hinds to leave Liverpool women after 5 years and join Arsenal. Fullback will join European champions at end of June. I'm not going to read this entire article because much of what's been said in the lower half actually isn't relevant, given that I've given you guys the reading there of that goodbye message from Taylor Hinds. So I read the relevant bits to you guys, okay? It does say here, Arsenal are to sign the Liverpool vice captain Taylor Hinds on a free transfer when her contract expires at the end of June, with the 26-year-old having decided to join the European champions. The left back played for Arsenal as a youngster before joining Everton in 2018 and then moving to Merseyside 2 years later. She has spent the past 5 years with Liverpool, helping them to finish as high as 4th in the Women's Super League in 2024. Relevant stuff here. The Jamaica international who represented England at youth level is understood to have been offered a new deal by Liverpool, but while they naturally be disappointed to lose a senior player, they understand and respect her decision to move to play Champions League football. I'm not going to read the rest of that because it's pretty much like me regurgitating myself. And obviously, am I happy? You bet your bottom dollar I am. I am definitely pleased to see this news. And it's for obvious reasons, isn't it? I've always wanted Arsenal to go back to their roots in being more diversified and being representative of their fan base on a whole. Because let's be honest, we've seen over recent years that they've drifted away from their DNA, the fabric that made them unique. And hopefully a signing like Taylor Hinds, you know, one of our own as it relates to Jamaica, hopefully this will be something that will position them back to where they need to be, where the diversity is concerned. And you know, I'm pleased for her, not because she's going to Arsenal, but I think that it's a perfect time in her career. I think she's about 26 years old, in the prime of her career. It's a wonderful opportunity, the perfect timing to move to the next necessary step. And it's no secret, you know, she's rejoining biggest, not arguably, factually, the biggest and most successful women's club in England, with over 60 odd plus trophies in their cabinet, 2 times winners of the Women's Champions League. No other English club have won the Champions League where the women's program or women's football is concerned. And you can look at Arsenal illustrious history here, women's honors. As I said here, you can see it. I hope you guys can see it. Let's check if you guys can see that. It would help if I remove the headline, wouldn't it? And let's just keep scrolling. It says here, Arsenal women have won 63 trophies in their glittering history. And you can go ahead and see a couple of those. As I mentioned, the Women's Champions League, 2 times winners. They're probably going to have the 2 stars on their football shirts for this coming season. FA Women's Super League champions, they've won that 3 times. FA Women's Premier League champions, they've won that 12 times. FA Women's Cup winners 14 times. FA Women's League Cup 7 times. FA Women's Premier League Cup winners 10 times. FA Women's Community Shield winners 4 plus, I said 4 plus 1 because the 1 was shared. And London County FA Women's Cup winners 10 times. So she's going back to her roots, quite similar to her countryman Demarai Gray, and I wish them both the very best of luck. Hopefully it will add to their flourishing career, and it will put them in a position where they go from strength to strength.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.